Yeah, all last year.
Okay, just somebody start talking. Oh my God, my voice is so.
I gotta
loud.
get.
You're good to
There we
go.
go. You good? All right. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies, which time any business affecting their interest is discussed and acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act and Board of Education Policy 0162, the Board of Education of the Borough of Elmwood has caused notice of this meeting to be posted in the Board office and at Elmwood High School, and mailed or faxed to the Courier News, the Elmwood Borough Clerk, South Elmwood Board of Education, and any person who has requested individual notice can pay the required fee. We stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Seeing that we do not have Mr. Fazio here, we'll skip president's comments and go straight to superintendent's. So far, I think we've had a pretty good opening. I know that we had a little bit of a hiccup the very first day of Smalley with drop off. I think we cleared that up. Went very, very nicely today. Dismissal today at Smalley with the standard dismissal, we were cleared out by 3 o'clock. So I think the last dismissal was at 2:50, so within 10 minutes we were cleared out on Cherry Avenue. So I keep that as positive. I think all the lunches everywhere went pretty well. I didn't see too many issues other than the high school, so we have developed a overflow room for the high school for a seniors cap for about 25 kids per lunch period for seniors. So that should take care of the overcrowdedness at the high school cafeteria lunch. Unfortunately, we're not able to do that today because I believe Mr. Smith was going over all the rules of the cafeteria, especially going over the QR codes and how to take attendance and things like that. So we would not have been able to enact that today, so that will happen tomorrow. With that, I just like to let everybody know our enrollment as of today is 1,980 students for the district, and we have 20 and a half. So we are going to be, by the end of the week, we'll be over 2,000 students for the district. And we do have more coming. So we are busting out at the seams more than we even thought at this point in time. So I just want to make you aware of that. We will also this evening send out our first pulse survey to the parents for the beginning of the school year. So that is my report at this time. If you have any questions or concerns.
Lunches at Smalley, the round tables?
Yep.
How's that? Are they distance?
Yeah, they're distance with, I believe, plexiglass.
No, not at the rounds.
No, not at the rounds.
rounds.
At the lawns, they have plexiglass. At the rounds, they do not, but they are 3 feet apart on the rounds.
Per seat, how many?
4. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we don't have any committee reports. So right now we are up to open to the public for agenda items only. We have none online. I do not see any from the public here. So we are going to move to approval of minutes. 5-1, the approval of minutes for 8/9 and 8/23. May I get a motion?
Quick comment.
Wait, let's get a motion.
Motion,
Motion.
Mr. Thomaselli, seconded by Mrs. Morris. Now discussion. We have to make an amendment for, Mr. Januzzi. He was present on the 9th for those minutes. So we need to make sure that it's corrected that Mr. Januzzi was present for the minutes on the 9th. Any other comments or questions about minutes? Seeing none, can I get a roll call vote?
Bob,
Yes for 8-9, I have to abstain from 8-23.
No, this is, oh, yeah.
and Morris,
Yes.
Busan,
Abstain from 5.1, yes to 5.2.
Russomanno,
Yes.
Thomaselli,
Yes.
Valera,
Yes.
Zupko,
Abstain, both.
and Januzzi.
Yes, with the amendment to 5.
Yes, with amendment. Motion passes.
We're up to number 6, personnel resolution 6.1. Approval of district and high school personnel resolutions. Resolved, the superintendent recommends for approval the resolutions as outlined in personnel resolutions under district and high school 6.2 through 6.12. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Valerier, seconded by Mr. Bale. Discussion.
Just a question on 6.6, the extra prep period,
6.6, extra prep period, yes.
and what does that mean?
So in other words, by contract, they're only allowed to have 4 different classes that they teach.
Okay.
So I'll use math as an example, algebra 1, geometry, algebra 2, so on.
Right.
So somebody has a 5th class that they're
Okay.
teaching, so a higher level math, per se, like a calculus, pre-calc, or whatever. So by contract, we have to give them a stipend. Okay?
Yep.
Any other questions? Seeing none, can I get a roll call vote?
Bale,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Busan,
Yes.
Russomanno,
Yes.
Thomaselli,
Yes.
Valera,
Yes, with an abstention from 6.9 and 6.10.
Zupko,
Yes.
and Januzzi.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Personnel resolutions, Millen Elementary, resolved that the superintendent recommends for approval the resolutions as outlined in personnel resolutions on the middle and elementary schools, 7.2 through 7.12. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Thomaselli.
Second.
Second, Mr. Zupko. Discussion. Seeing none, can I get a roll call vote?
Bale,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Busan,
Yes.
Russomanno, Thomaselli,
Yes.
Valera,
Abstain.
Zupko,
Yes.
and Januzzi.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Education resolutions, district and high school resolved, the Bamberg Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in educational resolutions under district and high school 8.2 through 8.4. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Valera. Second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Bale. Discussion.
The virtual learning plan, I'm assuming that's it, we have to go into.
Correct.
Okay.
We have to have, I think that's gonna be something that we're gonna have to do every year moving forward,
Okay.
just to have on file with the department. But yeah, that's a procedural thing at this moment in time.
Dr. Gallagher, also for 8.2, it looks like some of the information in the appendices is a little bit out of date and really in reference to the 2020, 2021 school year. Are those things that'll get updated on a rolling basis?
Yeah, we left them in there, and we didn't necessarily need them for the virtual plan, but we left them in there as a reference for us. Because again, with this virtual plan, part of it is you could use it for snow days, you could use it for, if a building happens to go out for, like one building happens to go out for a week for COVID. However, that plan was developed for a long-term, being out for a long-term period of time. So we wanted to leave those things in there just as a reference source.
And is this a resource that is going to become public knowledge for
Absolutely.
parents in the district?
Yep.
Something we posted.
It's on the website. Matter of fact, the old one should be on the website. After you approve this one, the old one will come down, the new one will go up.
So I was gonna ask you, that's the pandemic
Yes.
communicable disease.
Yep.
That'll get replaced by this.
Yep. Very good.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions, can I get a roll call vote?
Bale,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Newsom,
Yes.
Rusmato, Thomaselli,
Yes.
Fablelaro,
Yes.
Zupko,
Yes.
and Januzy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Section 9, education resolutions, middle and elementary. Resolved, the Bangor Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in education resolutions under middle and elementary school, 9.2 and 9.3. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Bale, second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Morris. Discussion.
So happy to see that we're planning the 8th grade trip again.
Yes.
Very exciting.
Actually, I told all the principals to plan all extra, all the
Yeah.
class trips and everything at this moment in time.
Fingers
I
crossed.
want to try and get back to as normal as humanly possible within the confines that we have. Grade grade, right?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
All right, let me get a roll call vote. Oh, wait, hold on.
One quick question on 9.3, are we reacting to a specific request or is that a general release?
That is a specific request
Okay.
for a specific student.
Okay.
Can I get a roll call vote?
Bale,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Newsom,
Yes.
Rusmato, Thomaselli,
Yes.
Fablelaro,
Abstain.
Zupko,
Yes.
and Januzy.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Real quick, just, Mr. Judy, just so you know, anytime a student is withdrawn from the school for homeschool, the Board of Education has to approve that request. So you'll see that from time to time again on the board agenda. It's just letting you know that that particular student who is a Bangor kid is being homeschooled.
Gotcha.
Okay? Section 10, special education resolutions. Resolved, the Bangor Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in special services resolutions 10.2 and 10.3. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Zupko. Second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Morris. Discussion.
I have some questions for 10.3.
Go ahead.
So it says on page 1 about the Medicare billing, is that something we've received release for anybody who's going to operate under that condition?
Yeah, when it comes to special ed students, we have a requirement from the Department of Education, the federal Department of Education, to bill Medicaid for anything that we can bill Medicaid for. Usually what you'll see is a report sometime later in the year called SEMI. That SEMI report is actually what we billed and what we received from Medicaid. Usually what will happen is, like, we're supposed to get 95% of whatever we put in for Medicaid. We usually don't make that number, so we usually end up with an action plan for that. It's just an unfortunate thing with our particular population that we just can't get the paperwork returned. But yes, that's exactly the requirement.
Okay. And, it leads into a second question, which is typically, obviously we're voting on an amount of money that's associated with this contract, but the town isn't really going to be expected to bear that full total cost, right? We're going to bill out for some amount of it.
No, you're getting that
That's the
full
amount
cost.
that we're actually trying.
That's the amount that you're paying as a Board of Education.
Is special ed. How many children are going to be in special ed this year?
We are
Out of
roughly,
district.
Yeah, out of district special ed.
district.
actually, special is 49.
49, and how much of the budget is it going to be this year?
I don't know the exact percentage off the top of my head, but I can get back to you on that. I will say roughly 3 million.
On page 4, it actually notes that if there's a discrepancy between the tentative rates that this has been agreed to under the actual rates that are experienced, that there would be some kind of a true up.
Yeah,
Does that happen typically, or is it usually pretty close?
No, it happens what'll happen is the true up is probably a year to 2 years later. So what happens is the Department of Education gives them an approved amount, which they don't give to them right now. We're actually using an old amount, and then they give you a true up number later. And then usually what happens is, depending on how much we put in for transportation, ESY, things like that, extended school year, there usually is a true up number that we usually have to come up with. Or sometimes, there's occasions where it does come back to us too, but usually it's usually a couple thousand.
That's what I was wondering. And that makes sense because in the terms and conditions, it says we have until, I think, October 2023 to make up.
Correct. And again, and that's all predicated on the state and the state Department of Special Education coming up with those tuition figures. They give you a tuition figure that you have to use based upon the classification, the out-of-district placement, so on and so forth. It gets a little complicated. Yeah, it does get a little complicated, but it's, and to be honest with you, and this is something I'm sure Dominic knows, it's the same thing with South Bamberg. So every 2 years, there is a true up number. Sometimes we're paying back South Bamberg, sometimes South Bamberg's paying us, and so on and so forth. But again, that's based upon that true up number that we get a year and a half, 2 years later. But I think right now, between us and South Bamberg, we've done a really good job of trying to keep that equalized, so we're not hurting each other.
Just not last year.
Listen, I gave you guys a really good deal on that.
I believe you. I'm just making sure you know that.
I know that, but I gave you a really good deal on that. Okay,
That's it for my questions. Thank you.
no problem. Any other questions? And just so everybody knows, I gave, for South Bamberg, they ended up owing us quite a bit of money. I gave them a very large grace period. I actually broke it up over a 2 payment thing instead of a 1 payment thing, just so everybody is aware. We work really well with South Bamberg, and I try to keep that relationship as open as I can. Unfortunately, that relationship's a little strained at the moment after our nursing issues, but I try to keep that as amenable as I can with them. It's a great relationship that we have with South Bamberg. I want to emphasize that we've had such a great relationship with South Bamberg. Dr. Gopi and I work really, really well together, and we're able to take care of our kids extremely well by sending some of our kids there free of charge. They sent some of our kids here free of charge with our special ed programs and things like that. So I just wanted to emphasize that piece.
Question on something you just mentioned about paperwork not being returned.
Mhm.
Is that why,
Well, sometimes it's the parents, but a lot of times it's the out-of-district placements themselves.
right?
They refuse to do paperwork, and it costs us.
Isn't there a way?
I've asked Mark if there was a way that we can penalize them for not doing the paperwork, and there is a legal piece in there that we cannot. Actually, Kyle, I don't know if you could speak to that.
I'd have to look at it, I don't know.
Yeah, when it comes to semi and trying to get the out-of-district placements to fill out the paperwork, there's no forced requirement for them to fill out the paperwork. We're basically at that beck and call at that,
Right.
and it really does hurt us, but we do the very, very best we can to get everything in.
I look at
There's a lot of things.
it.
Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Bell,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Busan,
Yes.
Rosano,
Yes.
Thomaselli,
Yes.
Butler,
Abstain.
Zupko,
Yes.
and Januzi.
Yes.
Motion passes.
We're up to section 11, financial resolutions. Resolved, the Bangor Board of Education resolutions as outlined in financial resolutions 11.2 through 11.6. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Thomaselli, second.
Second.
Ms. Morris is the second. Discussion.
I'd just like to thank everybody for the donations.
I will say on that end that Mrs. Fisher has done an unbelievable job of coordinating the donation to get things to our families that are displaced. Thank God, Bamberg has not been hit as hard as they have in the past, but we do have probably 15 families or so displaced from this past flood. And I know even today alone, giving out the clothes, the towels, all the other items that we've been able to do, Mrs. Fisher really deserves a big round of applause for all her efforts in that area.
I'd like to second that. I think Ms. Fisher has been exemplary in not only bringing the board together, but the community as a whole. And I know a lot of my constituents and just neighbors and people in general are so thankful for the job that you've done, Ms. Fisher, so really appreciate it.
How many students?
Displaced at the moment?
There's about 18 that are not back into some form of official residence.
Any other questions?
Of course. The last set of financial reports that were published was back in the proposed bank meeting. We haven't had another set that has been published since. When can we expect those to pop back on the agenda? Secretary report?
That would be the next meeting.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay. And a couple of quick comments on 11.3, which is the contract of the superintendent search.
Yes.
Just one quick point of reference. It seems to me that 2E and 1B might be in conflict. I just want to have, I guess, some clarity on who's going to be responsible for engaging the community, whether it's going to be the consultant or whether it's going to be responsibilities of the board of the district.
I would think that that's a question you're gonna have to ask Mr. Stewart when the opportunity arises. I don't have an answer.
Rich, what did you say? For a conflict? I didn't.
Two parts of the contract, I don't remember the specific numbers he just referenced. I think it was
It
two
was 2E
and one B.
In
Okay.
Then maybe some
1B,
conflict.
Got
yeah, in 1B, it seems to indicate that the consultant is going to be responsible for engaging community and stakeholders in focus group type sessions. And later in the document, it actually seems to indicate that the board of the district can be responsible for that. So I just want to make sure that
I can tell you from what I've seen of the contract and what Michelle and I signed, that is supposed to fall to the consultant. and not-
Yeah, I think that's why we picked that.
Yeah, that's why we could pick that particular option.
Yeah, but I see two, I think you're saying 2E says the board agrees to arrange for proposed forums. C1B,
yes.
the references you right back to where it says the consultant, so we arrange it and then he takes care of it from there maybe? Maybe we schedule it? I don't know.
TBD.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
My only other question is, it seems like the reports that the consultants are going to be delivering are really the key deliverables, but they're not really specified to any great degree in the document. Do they maybe have samples that they could share with us? I mean, I know the contract's long signed and executed, so.
Again, what I would tell you to do is, Michelle is the point of contact with Quinn Thornton, who's the lead consultant for this.
Okay.
I would send her question to Michelle. Michelle can send it to Quinn and get you an answer.
Very good.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, can I get a roll call vote?
Bale,
Yes.
Morris,
Yes.
Nusant,
Yes.
Russomanno,
Yes.
Thomaselli,
Yes.
Butler,
Yes, but I'm abstaining from, check 38289, check 38416,
oh, I'm sorry, give me the second one, please.
38416. And then I'm abstaining from 11.4 and 11.5.
Can you give me that first check number again? I'm sorry.
38289.
Thank you.
Zupko
Yes.
and Januzzi.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, at this time, we are up to items 12 to 13, other matters to come before the board and new business.
Do you know tentatively how long you think the students will be displaced for, or is that just like how, is it gonna be current, like, are they gonna be?
I can tell you that, some of those are permanent displacements. I believe that, one particular apartment unit is condemned. So I can't give you an estimated time. By law, they have a full year with us. Under homeless status.
And then our homeless status, when we get funding from the state, because they're considered,
Absolutely not.
nope. There's other ways to get funded, so that's why
Absolutely not.
I'm thinking Port of Entry.
Yes, Board of Entry, there's a different way to this.
Yeah.
Any other matter? Seeing none, we are open to the public for discussion items. Online, we have none.
Oh, Patricia's not online?
Nope, nothing online. I see none from the public at this time. At this time, we need to move into executive session under items 4, 6, and 7, We will be dismissing from executive session because there is no other items that will be taken in public. So I'm making everybody know that we're going to executive session. We'll probably adjourn from executive session. So can I get a motion to go into executive session?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Thomaselli, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Bale. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.